G'day folks, thanks for joining me. Today we're doing something slightly different. As we know, there are some excellent Matchbox kit video reviews available online, so rather than continuing to add my own standalone unboxings and reviews, I thought I'd put even more focus on the comparison side of things. So this is the first in a series where we not only review a Matchbox kit, but we directly compare it with another manufacturer's kit of the same type of aircraft, which was available at the same time and which may have been on the same shelf in the local model shop, supermarket or newsagent. We look at the model choices available to us as kids in the 70s and 80s, see which one we might have chosen and see if we'd make the same choice today. So today we look at the Havilland Mosquito, the Matchbox 1976 tool unboxing and the Airfix 1972 tool seen here in its 1982 boxing. Both of these were familiar to me back in the day, and I chose Matchbox. Let's see if I'd make the same choice now, and let's see what you reckon. So we'll start by comparing the boxes. The Matchbox kit has a Roy Huxley artwork of a low-level bombing mission, and the Airfix one has one of their 80s style pictures of a completed kit on a plan or a schematic. Then looking at the sides, advertising the other orange range kits available, or some of them. Standard end treatment. Then some information in other languages. And the Matchbox picture of the completed unpainted decal kit. And of course, let's not forget the rear of the Matchbox box with the window of happiness and the colour schemes available. So let's open them up and see what we've got. Airfix is a top opener. And so this is what you've got. Airfix is all grey. Matchbox is in their three colours, so we've got a grey, we've got an olive green and a black. And let's have a bit of a closer look. So we look at the instructions. Orange range kit, so it's got the orange background for Matchbox. Prototypical information there. Bit of info in different languages and the mini paint plan there. And we have the paint listing. And we have the how-tos, 12-step instructions. I'll just show you through those. Cockpit, fuselage sides. Choose your nose and do it. Put the fuse together with the correct canopy. Tailplanes, undercarriage, nacelles and props and undercarriage. Bombs or slipper tanks. Put all the main parts together, then put the fun bits on underneath. An Airfix, it's a single fold out one. A fair bit of information in different languages on the front there. On the back we've got the paint plans and the decal layouts with the colours. More complicated instructions here. We notice one main difference is for one of the different types you cut the front of the fuselage off rather than having separate individual noses. Put all the fun bits in, make your choices there. Undercarriage, all the undercarriage, and you've got different props, the broad chord propellers or the narrower chord ones. Then put all the other bits there. So this is the two different types you can build. Main components go together. And all the fun stuff underneath, including the RP3 3-inch rockets. So lots of choices there. I miss these in the Airfix instructions. Different languages for what the codes mean, and then we've got one for the magazine and the Modelers Club. And if you've got any queries about it, send them a letter. Looking at the decals. Interestingly, the Matchbox one had two sets of decals. One was wedged in under the other. Couple of choices there. Might have been a Friday, or whoever was on the production line might have been feeling generous. And the Airfix one has the two RAF choices. And here's one, an RAAF, an Australian variant. If I'd have known that back in the day, that might have sealed the deal for me to spend the extra money and buy this one. Looking at the transparencies, you have the two canopies for Matchbox, flat-fronted windscreen, and the stepped one or the split one, whatever you call it. Then the other transparencies, the bomber nose and etc. And then the mid-sized M stand. And then the Airfix one has the single canopy being the flat-fronted windscreen type. And let's just compare the two. We look at the Matchbox sprues. Bit of stuff there. Looking at the Airfix parts on sprues and some not on sprues. That's a lot of stuff. So looking at the sprues, the Matchbox one has the separate noses there. The fuselage sections with the fin on one side, not on the other. And then the Airfix one, these fuse sections weren't on a sprue. And then we have the nacelles. Looking at the fuselage sides with the fin and rudder. Can't really say much about panel lines because there aren't too many of those on a primarily wooden aeroplane. The Airfix one has quite deep Bombay door panels. Matchbox one doesn't. Looking at the fin and rudder, I think the Matchbox one does a better representation of the fabric. Comparing the nacelles, engines, Airfix, they couldn't really help themselves with the rivets. And then Matchbox couldn't help themselves with deep panel lines. Now the Matchbox one has the two-stage engine, so it's got slightly longer engine cowlings, nacelles. But yeah, they're pretty much of a muchness. Looking at the wings, Matchbox has typical very little detail. Airfix has a lot more detail, but also somewhat oversized rivets, but same underneath. But you'd get away with it. And basically no detail on Matchbox. And the third Matchbox sprue with a bit of stuff. Looking at Airfix's everything else sprues, you've got the two types of props with the broader chord and the narrower chord blades. Just look at that. Those rocket rails, the undercarriage, legs. There's a lot of options and a lot of detail. Two different tail wheels. Shrouded and unshrouded exhausts. So yeah, as detail goes, Airfix one wins hands down. So back in the day it was a pretty clear choice. Matchbox, the artwork was awesome. You got an indication of what you were getting. A couple of quite different options as far as airframes go and as far as colour schemes go. And it was about $5, I think, compared to the $6 maybe that the Airfix one might have been. The Airfix one lost out by just having that on the front. Didn't give an indication of what scheme options were available, so I didn't know that the RAAF option was a choice. So back then I went for the Matchbox one for those reasons, but today I'd have to choose the Airfix one. So thank you for joining me, folks. I hope it's been an interesting view, and I'll keep on plodding on with more. Cheers.